Welcome back, everybody. We are diving deep today into a story I know have a lot of you out there talking. Markelle Fultz is back in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's signed with the Sacramento Kings.
It's really a fascinating move. Kind of a, unexpected twist, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a lot to unpack here.
Absolutely.
So let's start with what we know. I mean, the Kings traded De'Aaron Fox, obviously.
Right.
They had this hole to fill at point guard.
Yeah, and it seems like, based on what we're hearing from, the sources out there, they're not necessarily looking for a traditional point guard to fill that role. They've got a lot of guys who can handle the ball. Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, even Sabonis can facilitate the offense a little bit.
Right.
So it seems like they're maybe going for more of like a committee approach at that position, which is
a little untraditional.
It is, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So then that begs the question, right? How does Markelle Fultz fit into all of this?
Yeah, I mean, you think back to his early days in Philadelphia, he was very much a ball-dominant guard.
Right.
But you look at what he did in Orlando, his assist numbers were way up. He was averaging close to 6 assists a game last season.
Almost 14 points a game, too?
Yeah.
4 rebounds.
I mean, he's grown as a player. We need to move past that image of the struggling rookie.
Right.
Look at the Orlando Fultz. He's making smart decisions. He's driving to the basket. He's dishing out assists. Yeah, the shot is still a work in progress.
Still a work in progress.
But the Kings' new coach, I mean, he's known for player development, especially with guards.
Right. So it's like, is this about, him filling a very specific role, or is this about, like, giving him the space to, like, further develop?
I think that's a big part of it, yeah. I mean, he was a highly sought-after free agent. Shams Charania reported that multiple teams were interested in him.
Wow.
So, that tells you something right there.
Yeah. Why do you think he chose Sacramento out of all of the places that wanted him?
Well, the Kings have a young and exciting core. They're hungry to prove themselves. And I think Fultz is in that same boat.
That's a good point.
He's playing for a new contract.
Absolutely.
There's a lot on the line for him this season.
So as a Kings fan, what would be your expectation here? Is this the piece that puts them over the top, gets them into the playoffs?
I don't know if I'd go that far just yet.
Okay.
I mean, the Western Conference is a bloodbath.
Yeah.
To make the playoffs, they're going to need him to not just meet expectations, but to really exceed them. I mean, you almost need like remember Linsanity with Jeremy Liner?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of impact for them to really make a serious run.
That's a high bar.
It is. But I think that's the level we're talking about here.
He needs to be more than just a solid role player.
Yeah. He needs to be like a catalyst, a spark plug for this team.
Absolutely.
And he needs to do it consistently. I mean, we've seen flashes from him before, but the key now is consistency. They need him to bring that, that Orlando form every single night.
That's a good point.
Not just in bursts.
Right. Yeah. Consistency. Yeah. That's what they're going to need from him.
Absolutely.
And, when we talk about consistency, I mean, that's got to be a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
For a guy like Fultz, right?
The number one pick.
All this scrutiny early in his career, and now this is like his chance to really kind of like
prove himself. Yeah. I mean, it's a unique kind of pressure, and some guys fold under that pressure.
Yeah.
Some guys thrive on it. He shown a lot of resilience throughout his career. So, this could be the stage where he really silences the doubters.
And it's not like Sacramento is known for being like a super like calm, supportive environment to me.
No.
The Kings have had their share of...
Yeah, they've had some turmoil. Over the years, for sure.
So how does that impact him? I mean, is that like a potential roadblock, or does it actually like fuel him even more to...
I think it could go either way, honestly. It really depends on his mindset.
Okay.
If he views this as a chance to be a leader, to kind of help stabilize the franchise, build something special, then the Kings' past might not be as big of a factor.
I like that. Yeah, it's not just about him succeeding. It's about like him being part of something bigger.
Great.
Yeah, and we've seen that before, right? I mean, look at Giannis in Milwaukee. I mean, he joined a franchise that
was, kind of stuck in mediocrity for years.
Yeah, and he turned them into champions.
And he turned them into champions.
So it's like, maybe Fultz has that in him. It's just a matter of,
Right. I mean, he has the talent.
yeah.
It's just a matter of putting it all together.
And this new system, right? We were talking earlier about how the Kings are going with this, like,
Yeah, the up-tempo, the ball movement.
pace. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could really play to his strengths.
Uh-huh.
One of the sources we were looking at was talking about how the new coach really wants to empower players to make quick decisions,
Okay.
push the tempo, create opportunities for themselves and for others.
That sounds like a good fit
I think it could be, yeah.
for someone like Fultz.
Yeah, it's not about forcing him into a rigid structure.
Right.
It's about giving him the tools and the support to kind of unlock his full potential.
So let's zoom out for a second, right? We're talking about Fultz. We're talking about the Kings. What does this mean for, like, the Western Conference as a whole?
Ooh, that's where things get really interesting.
I mean, the West is a gauntlet
Oh, it's a bloodbath every year.
every year.
Every year.
Every year, so many good teams.
And you add Fultz to the mix with the Kings.
Right.
It just adds another layer of unpredictability.
Yeah.
If he plays to his potential, they could really shake things up.
I bet you the other teams are looking at this, the other contenders in the West.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
And they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. A few raised eyebrows, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kings have been kind of a sleeping giant for the past few seasons.
Yeah, flashes of potential, but
Right. Never quite putting it all together.
never quite putting it all together.
But with Fultz
Yeah.
and that young core, they might have the pieces now to really make some noise.
So it comes down to, does Fultz live up to the hype? I mean, can he translate that potential into results?
Right. That's the big question.
It all hinges on him
It does, yeah.
and how quickly he adapts to this new system.
Mm-hmm.
If he can hit the ground running and establish himself as like a leader
Yeah.
for that team.
They could be a dangerous team
Yeah.
come playoff time.
That's a long season.
It is a long
You
season.
got to see what happens, right? I mean,
Plenty of challenges along the way.
Kings got to stay healthy, got to stay focused.
Stay committed to that new style of play.
And Fultz has got to prove that he can be that consistent force that they're hoping for.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun to watch. This whole thing with Fultz and the Kings, it kind of reminds me of another comeback story.
Oh, yeah.
Remember T.J. Warren?
Oh, yeah, Bubble Warren.
Bubble Warren.
He was on fire.
Like, he was good before that, right? But then in the bubble, it was like
It was like a whole different
a
play.
whole nother level.
Yeah, like something just clicked.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't quite gotten back to that level,
Right.
but it showed you, like, the potential's there sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes all it takes is a change of scenery, a new system,
Right.
a fresh start.
And maybe that's what's happening with Fultz, right? He's been through so much
Yeah.
the scrutiny, the injuries.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it,
This is his moment.
the turning point.
Yeah, Sacramento, new opportunity, playoff team.
Right, exactly.
It could be the catalyst he needs.
And if he does pull it off, I mean,
What's a great story.
that's what people love, right?
Absolutely. The underdog.
The underdog coming back.
Overcoming the odds.
Yeah, proving everyone wrong.
That's what it's all about.
So I guess the question is this the start of something special for Markelle Fultz?
Well, we've seen the talent.
Yeah.
We know he's got the potential.
He's got the opportunity now.
The Kings have a system that seems like a good fit.
Right.
A coach who can develop players.
Yeah. They've got a good young core. They're hungry.
They're hungry.
It's all right there in front of them.
It is. It's all about putting it together now.
Consistency.
Consistency, exactly.
So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an exciting season.
It's going to be fun to watch.
We'll be keeping a close eye on it, and we'll be back next week to break it all down for you. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.